What are you going to be looking to hear or look for from this announcement, given that there's still so much that's up in the air?
The big thing is, will there be exemptions for parts, different vehicles coming in from Canada and Mexico? Those are really the big things for the car companies here, because they do bring in a lot of parts, even for vehicles assembled in the U.S. And so even if vehicles are built here, that'll drive costs up. And behind the scenes, there's always negotiating between the parts companies at all different tiers and the automakers themselves, trying to get each other to absorb some of that cost. And then in the end, they try to get consumers to absorb as much of it as they can. But it hurts profits. So are there big exemptions here? Because if you look at, take General Motors, they make pickup trucks in Canada and Mexico. It's their highest profit vehicle program. It's also their highest volume one. They also make key electric vehicles in Mexico, the Chevy Equinox and Blazer EVs down there. So, both of these are very important programs for them. Are there exemptions for that sort of thing? And if there aren't, then we're really going to see things get wild in a hurry. And then the other part of it is, how are they going to react? And I think the car companies will wait and see how long, whatever the tariffs are, how long they're going to last. I think initially they're not going to start moving production and doing anything that really rips up their supply chain or their manufacturing networks. Mm-hmm. They'll wait and see if this is some sort of leverage point by the Trump administration to get something else. Yeah. And if it lasts a few months, then they'll just absorb the cost and move on.
Absorb the cost and move on, and that's kind of what they did the first time around in 2018. David, you're based in Detroit. You're our bureau chief there. You speak with folks from the auto industry. The goal of these tariffs, according to President Trump, is to force companies to move more production back to the U.S. Have you seen any indication that companies are starting to do that, or at least moving parts of that supply chain back to the U.S.?
You're seeing little bits of it. There was an investment by Hyundai of $21 billion. I think some of that may have been in the works already, but still, I think what we've seen ever since Trump's first administration is companies are realizing the world's getting bigger. Not just the U.S., but there are tariff regimes around the world that make it more difficult or more expensive to just ship parts, vehicles, metals, all kinds of key industrial imports around. So you're seeing companies try to build more where they sell. The auto industry it's very difficult to do that because the plants themselves are so expensive. And, I don't think you're going to see anything, really big move immediately. Again, they'll wait and see how long these tariffs are going to last. If it does look like they're going to last a long time, some of the companies do have excess capacity in the U.S. So could they move a couple of vehicles from Mexico, from Canada into U.S. plants? I think you could see things like that happen if it's clear that the tariffs are going to be in place for a long time.